All right, everyone. Welcome in to a live stream here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, after an entertaining Alamo Bowl between Washington State and Iowa State. I really enjoyed that one, other than picking Iowa State to win the game. They did cover the 3-point spread. So 28-26, Cougars win to most likely secure their spot in the final top 10 in the nation after finishing at 11-2. And for Iowa State, some really tough losses in the season in which they started out 0-3, rallied to go 8-4 in the regular season and finish up at 8-5 following, again, a very narrow loss. And so instead of cutting my typical instant analysis video, I decided to strike up the live stream with you here late night at 1 a.m. Eastern time. So I don't know how long I'm going to be on here, but I had a couple points to make about this Iowa State and Washington State game. Again, Cougars win at 28-26. The Pac-12 finally wins a bowl game. The Pac-12 won one bowl game last year. I believe that was Utah over West Virginia. And that was a West Virginia team that was missing Will Grier, much like this year's West Virginia team that had Will Grier in the program for 2 years, but he didn't play in postseason games either season. And they looked awful against Utah last year, losing, I believe, 30-14. And then they had a lead in the fourth quarter to start out the quarter at 18-17, but were outclassed by Syracuse in the fourth quarter and just couldn't generate the kind of offense we expect out of West Virginia, losing 34-18 in the Camping World Bowl. So again, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And I will respond to anything on the line that you guys have in the live chat. I'll check it out in just a second. And also, we've got the call-in number at 860-325-3687. All right. I was tearing it up with my bowl predictions until today. I was 11-3 against the spread, picking all three correct on Thursday, with Duke covering 3, Wisconsin covering 3, and in the nightcap, I forget who played last night. Whoever it was, I picked the game right. And then I don't remember who played last night. Oh, my goodness. So I picked the game right, whatever it was, because I finished the day at 11-3 against the spread and 12-2 straight up. But then came Friday. What got into me picking Purdue to beat Auburn? I didn't pick them to beat Auburn. I did pick Auburn to win the game. I thought it was going to be a razor close game in which Auburn would win and Purdue would cover the 3.5 points. So I said, give me that 3.5 points, but Auburn's going to win this game like 30-28. And then once they hit the field and there were only a couple plays into the game, I thought, what did I just do? There is no comparison between these two teams. And if Purdue and Auburn played 10 times, Auburn would not beat them 63-14 most of the time. Obviously, Purdue was good enough to beat Ohio State on a given night in West Lafayette when the stars aligned. They also beat a few other good teams. I'm trying to think who else they beat. They lost to Minnesota 41-10. They beat Iowa. They lost to Michigan State. They, I believe, beat Wisconsin, or did they lose to Wisconsin? I don't recall, but it was a close game against Wisconsin. They lost to Northwestern in a very close game. So Purdue did not play that poorly, even though they lost most of those games, except for the 41-10 loss to Minnesota. Did they play poorly? They lost a bunch of games, 6 games, but they were very close in playing teams similar to Auburn, fairly similar to Auburn. Auburn would have the talent advantage over all the teams that I just named, but if they played on a regular basis, Auburn would win most of the time, but not convincingly. So this is just one of those odd matchups in which Auburn was just along the trenches. In the trenches, Auburn was just so superior to Purdue, is that man, it was just turned out to be an ugly game. And I thought it would be, I just was not thinking it through. Auburn was given a pass to a certain extent against Central Florida last year since they missed out on the SEC championship game, uh, lost the SEC title game, didn't go to the college football playoff, were supposedly let down by that, and then lost to Central Florida. But Purdue, Central Florida, we're talking about two different levels of football. And again, different teams show up week to week. We could go through all sorts of examples of when Purdue looked decent and when they looked awful. This team lost today by 49 points. They lost by 7 touchdowns, and it wasn't that close. They had 42 points given up at halftime. This is one of the stranger stats I've ever come across. At one point in the game, Auburn had 42 points on the board, and they had 5 minutes of possession time. I texted that to a buddy, and he said, how is that possible? They've had the ball for 5 minutes, and they have 42 points. I said, well, they've got a pick six. But then besides that, they're scoring in like 45 and 50 seconds. They've scored every time they've had the ball, and their longest drive in terms of clock time is 1 minute and 3 seconds. So they're scoring in 30 and 40 seconds. Therefore, 6 touchdowns by the offense in 5 minutes. Incredible. I don't know what else to say about that game. I was really looking forward to watching that game, but once it started to unfold, even at 7-0, I thought, Mark, you really screwed up on this one. This is the dumbest prediction you've made in a long time. Gus Malzahn took over the play calling for Auburn. He talked about that a few weeks ago, in which he was pretty much putting the program in his own hands, saying, number one, I'm taking over the play calling because that's what I do well, and I just believe that I need my hands all over the offense and to call the plays. And that's what brought him up through the ranks. The coaching ranks was as a play caller. Gus Malzahn also said, we're here to win and compete for championships, and so we'll see how Auburn does following an 8-5 year this year, and who's in the same state and same division. Right out of the gate, Auburn on a 3rd and 1 play, the very third play of the game, Jarrett Stidham went 66 yards to Jatavius Whitlow, who scored 3 touchdowns on the day. He had 3 touchdowns at the point that I stopped watching. Maybe he scored more than that. I think everybody on the roster scored at least 1 touchdown. So Jatavius Whitlow with 3 touchdowns. That was the first one in which they threw him a little pop pass. He ran a wheel route, and he was wide open and went 66 yards for a touchdown, and it was 7-0. Purdue moved the ball to a certain extent during the first half on a number of drives, but it was a struggle. They earned their yardage. Auburn scored like that. Darius Slayton abused the secondary. Cam Martin, for a rushing attack that hasn't been able to move the ball the entire season for the most part, has not had a strong rushing attack. Against Purdue, Auburn ran it down their throats with Cam Martin. Seth Williams abused the secondary as well. This kid Schwartz, who's really fast, he's a track star who plays football as well. I guess he's a football player as well. This kid Schwartz for Auburn killed Purdue on the perimeter on the jet sweep. Now, Purdue was missing its best defensive lineman, Lorenzo Neal, and also one of its best linebackers in Cornell Jones. Had I known that, maybe I would have picked Auburn to cover the 3.5 points. Maybe. So every time I make predictions, I let you guys know I'm not an expert. I don't spend any time on it. I just look at the matchup and make the prediction. Darius Slayton, my goodness, I'm going to have to look up his numbers. He had a 74-yard touchdown. He had a 52-yard touchdown. He was wide open on these plays. And consider that Auburn came into this game ranking number 114 out of 130 teams, number 114 and number 117 in explosive plays of over 20 yards and 30-plus yards. Number 114 and number 117. And they couldn't help but make explosive plays in this game. Like every other play was an explosive play. At one point, they were averaging like 35 yards per reception. Just in annihilation. I'm going to check out the live chat and see what you guys have. I'm going to be back at 11:30 in the morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So we've got South Carolina, Virginia kicking off at just after noon, and also Michigan and Florida. So I'm going to take us all the way up to kickoff, and I'm going to take your calls. 860-325-3687. And I'll put the number in the live chat. I have something to say about motivation, and I think I'm going to wait to actually cut a video. So the disadvantage of the live streams is that people that know YouTube tell me that if I cut a live stream and then it posts, that YouTube for some reason doesn't like these live streams. Once they're recorded and they post, they don't treat them like other videos. So they don't funnel them into the traffic of the suggested videos. So they don't get many views. So the live streams don't do me much good, except for I love the engagement with you. I love to check out the live chat. I love to give you guys the ability and the forum to talk to each other, and then to talk to me and ask me questions and make comments. And I like to talk to you directly. I like the live streams. I love the live streams much more than anything else. But the videos do much better. Check out my last month's worth of videos. Thanks to you, I'm starting to get much better traction with, I counted well over 30 videos with more than 1,000 views, 15 or 16 videos with over 3, 4, 5,000 views. Our Notre Dame Clemson Cotton Bowl preview video is close to 20,000 views. And the Ohio State Michigan post game is at like 15,000 views, and a number of other recruiting videos in particular featuring Ohio State, Florida State, Georgia. Some of the more popular teams are in the 5 to 10,000 range. So thank you. If those were live streams, though, they would have 200 and 300 views, because they would have more than that, but not many more than that, because YouTube, for whatever reason, does not like to push live streams. Let's see what you guys have. I've got all these notes on Iowa State and Washington State, so I don't want to waste them. So I'm either going to cut a video after I get done with the live stream, or we can run through it right now. 860-325-3687. Shane Bentley. I have never seen you post anything, no comments, no questions, nothing, either in the live stream or to any of the videos. But Shane, you have just donated to Mark Rogers TV, and I thank you so much. I appreciate that. That is a goodwill gesture out of you. Thank you. If you guys only knew what is going on with my channel right now, if you only knew. But I'm not at liberty to fully disclose that right now. But just believe me that talking to you about college football is the thing that I love to do more than just about anything in the world. We'll take out a few personal items there, possibly involving family, significant others, those sorts of things. But producing college football content, analyzing college football, doing all these rankings and ratings and previewing games, doing predictions, recaps, all the stuff that I do in the off season in terms of ranking conferences and providing top 25 lists and previews and positional previews of all the top players in each conference and nationally, all that stuff that I do. I love it. That's why I do this. And regardless of what is going to be dictated to me that I can and cannot do, I'm going to work through that to find a way to continue to do what I love, whether that's here or elsewhere. So that's one of the reasons why it's important for you to subscribe to my newsletter, The Voice of College Football. I did miss a week, and it completely went by me. So we produced throughout the entire season, starting with week 1, a newsletter for those of you who don't know, the voice of college football. And it was basically my take on the weekend's play. Also, a channel update to keep you informed of what we were planning and what was in store for that week, and some of my thoughts about what would happen in the future and my vision for the channel. And then also a very popular section, probably the thing that kept it going for you college football junkies, was my stats, facts, and trends section of all the notes that I took over the weekend, or not all the notes, but a sampling of the notes that I took over the weekend to provide you with information and stats and facts and trends that you would not be able to find anywhere else. So it's the Voice of College Football newsletter. If you send your email address to mine at MarkRogersTV at Gmail, your email address, and I know that most people don't like to give away their email address, but just think of it this way. Number one, there's like 82 people right now receiving the newsletter. So you can talk to any one of those 82 people and they will let you know that your email address will be safe. They will let you know that I do not clutter up your inbox. I only send the one mailing per week. I actually expected and said all or during the season that during the postseason, during the bowl play, that I'd probably release 2 newsletters a week. But with everything that I'm doing on the video side, it's been difficult for me to concentrate on this newsletter and knock it out each and every Monday. So I took a bit of a break from the newsletter just because this past Monday was what? It was Christmas Eve. So what happened was I totally forgot about the newsletter. My apologies, this past Monday. But then I thought the next day or 2 days later, forgot to do the newsletter. Well, it was Christmas Eve. So after the fact, I declared it a week off. So the newsletter's key. Shane, thank you so much. Georgia fan, Shane, I hope that you've caught our Georgia-Texas previews and our recruiting updates on Georgia football with Savannah Lee Richardson of Bulldog Illustrated here the past few weeks. All right. So again, so much going on with the channel, and it just comes at a bad time because the channel is taking off unlike at any time before. This has been a slow grind to try to build this up. I am not a branding guy. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a sales guy. I just produce content. And therefore, the channel could have done much better in the hands of somebody else who actually knows about those things. I've not concentrated on the business end of it. I've just sat here and talked about college football all the time. So it's grown very organically, and typically at the pace of anywhere from 60 to 90,000 views per month and about 250 to, say, 320 subscribers added per month. And that's increased to more like 600 subscribers per month looking at the last month or two, and more like 180 to 200,000 views per month. So it's increasing and it's ramping up thanks to you. And I probably hit some YouTube milestones in which they have put me into the mainstream traffic a little bit more as anybody gains more popularity as a YouTuber. So I'm sure that's helped. All right, let's talk some football. What do you guys have? Brody says, go Irish. We are just about 16 hours away from football in terms of the college football playoffs. Notre Dame and Clemson from Dallas. I will have my prediction out in the morning. Hound Dog says, via transitive property, Tennessee would have won the Big Ten. Tennessee would have won the Big Ten. Tennessee over Auburn. Tennessee, Auburn over Purdue. Purdue over Ohio State. Bingo. Gotcha. Somebody has chipped in. I don't know who this is. Hound Dog. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really so much want to do what I've talked about doing the entire season, but we're right in the middle of college football and the most important game. So we just want to talk football, but I've really wanted to do a channel update and talk to you guys about the channel, the vision, the whole deal. So I appreciate you guys jumping in. And Hound Dog, It's difficult for me to express my thanks. Not that I don't want to, but I can't put it into words. For somebody to say, hey, I'll give you $20 or I'll give you $5 or $1, whatever it is, just so you can keep this going is awesome. Thank you. All right. Hound Dog. These are my options. So they've got the drop down next to anyone's comment. I don't know what you guys see, but I only have the option to say to go to channel, to report, to remove, to put the user in a timeout, to hide the user, or to add a moderator. Well, I just want to comment. And what has been difficult for me to do for some reason the last several live chats is I can't go in and put your @ symbol and then type your name and have it highlight you so I can respond directly to you. I don't know why that's not doing that. So anyway, let's punch our way out of this. There we go. So I can read some more comments. Brody, I've yet to see your handle in the live chat. So welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Hound Dog, yes, he's giving Tennessee the Big Ten championship. And as the bowl season resumes and continues, I'm sure we could probably make similar claims elsewhere, although that's difficult to do in the ACC and in the SEC because the champion won all of its games. So we really can't do that there. But Oklahoma, of course, lost to Texas. Texas lost to Maryland. So I think we're giving Maryland possibly the Big 12 championship, correct? Washington lost to Oregon. Washington also lost to Auburn, who lost to Tennessee. Tennessee lost to Vanderbilt. We could give the Vanderbilt the Pac-12 championship. All right. Baylor and Vandy played last night. Yeah, it was a great game. Check out my instant analysis. It's a great game. Love the game. I thought that the Wake-Memphis game was the best bowl game at that point. And then I would have to say that was superseded by the Vandy-Baylor game. That was really good. And then tonight, this Washington State-Iowa State game was really good. Yesterday, we just didn't have any good games. Wisconsin blew out Miami. Duke just threw up 42 straight against Temple. They were down 27-14, and then they just raced past them. And why can't I remember? Well, that was the game last night. It was Vandy and Baylor. Okay. Wazoo gets 11 wins. College Basketball Talk chimes in. George, there is nothing I love more than watching the referees mangle a game. That was some crazy referee during the best game ever. Was that tonight's game? Was the best game ever? If we call in, will it show our face? No, sir. So here's what I want everyone to understand when you call in, and this is probably why some people would be hesitant to call in. I can't see your phone number, and you can't see my phone number. So that protects both of us. It's a phantom phone number. So the phone number buffers your phone number and my phone number. So it's not like I'm giving away my phone number and you're not giving away. I just see when I give you the phone line, which is 860-325-3687, and you call, all I see is 860-325-3687. I could show that on camera. And therefore, you don't know my phone number either. You think you're calling 860-325-3687, which you are, but that's funneling that phone call to my real number, if that makes any sense. So I'll put it in here at 860-3687. And that's one of the very things that I would love to get corrected during the off season is to do this the right way, and the right way to be able to have the software to put up the phone number and sponsorships and everything on the screen so I don't have to repeat the number, and I don't have to hold the cell phone up to the. I've got a buddy who is a tech wizard who worked with me at ESPN, and he's a big production guy, and he just laughs because he's like, Mark, I can't believe the traffic that you get doing things the way that you do them, holding a cell phone up to a mic, and that people actually call you. He said that proves that content is king. And content should be king, but we want to do things a little bit better than that. Hound Dog, Mark, you should do a watch party for the college football playoff like you did for the Georgia-Florida game. Maybe. Mike James boxing. So Mike James says something here, and Mike James, I've never seen you comment to the live chat or to any of the videos. So for as long as you've been watching, I don't know how long that is. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV. Brandon Arms, same thing. Yeah, the Iowa State game, the officiating was shoddy, questionable. So I would like to tell everyone out there that if you have something disparaging to say about my work situation, please don't send that to any public forums. That doesn't do me any good. All right. What do we have here? I should do a watch party. Okay, we'll consider that. Shane, if I recall correct, but I believe I knew you as 98.1 Sports. You've done some good coverage, my good sir. No, that is not me. Maybe you're talking to somebody else, Shane. Are you talking to somebody in the live chat, possibly? That's not me. 98.1. They did contact me, and I can't remember the guy's name now. And I apologize if you're watching because it was a good guy, and I believe a Georgia fan, and he was starting a YouTube channel, and I had him on once. Brandon, Texas going to give the dogs all they want. Richard, Texas going to get thumped. Richard's on the line. Shane's on the line. Connor's on the line. Young CB33. I've never seen that handle on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, but obviously a Sooner fan. Trust me, keep up the good work. In a year, it will be worth it. Mike James, thank you. I appreciate it. I've been grinding for a long time. The first video I cut was following the New Year's Bowl games in 2010. Now, I didn't take it that seriously for about 2 to 3 years. I cut quite a few videos, but I just threw them out there. I had an iPhone. I just stick it in front of me. And again, my buddy, the tech guy, would marvel at me just clicking play and just talking and then clicking stop, just doing one cuts. And if you notice my videos, I don't cut. They're not edited. I just talk. I just record and talk and end it. And if I screw up at any point, it's all out there for you to see. Why did I start on that? Oh, because Shane or somebody else had made a comment about sticking with it. No, that was Mike James. George says Georgia wins 34-20 over Texas. Michigan going to win. Hound Dog again. Thank you. Swampy McGee. Mark Rogers TV, college football forever. Connor Patris, Buckeyes fan. Richard Neal, Hound Dog is a fan, is a baller. Jesse Boyd, I don't believe that I've seen your handle at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. So welcome to our channel. Yeah, Connor, you got to love Baker Mayfield. He is playing some serious football. Hound Dog, I'm good with the orange selection for the donation. Nice work out of you. The orange Tennessee, I was just lucky that it hit on 20. That's great. Alabama going to win the whole thing, and Ohio State going to win the Rose Bowl. Swampy McGee is filling us in on The Game, 1997 American mystery thriller film directed by, okay. Tennessee's going to be all right. They'll get back. Texas not the same team as week 1. Shane, appreciate you stopping by. Iowa State was hosed. Pretty much cost me some money. Hound Dog, the Cheez-It Bowl restored my faith in humanity. All right. Well, that's good to know that college football was able to do that for you. Is Dwayne Haskins going into the NFL draft this year? I would call that about an 80 to 20 probability. Hound Dog says, I really like that no one would ever be able to guess what team you're a fan of. I take a little bit of pride in that as well. Either when people say, hey, I've been watching for 2 years. Can you please tell me who you root for? Because I haven't been able to figure it out. Or I love it when people, and I must have made some kind of comment or a number of comments about a month ago, because about 15 Ohio State fans came at me and just said, we're sick of you being a Buckeye hater, and they blasted me. And I just thought, okay, I'm doing my job. Oh, the Cincinnati Bearcats. All right, college basketball talk. I've revealed this a number of times, and I'm an Ohio State fan. That's where I grew up. Grew up an Ohio State fan in Ohio. Yes, huge Buckeyes fan. Huge Buckeyes fan. You guys should. I've heard it's the best video I ever cut. I think it's the stupidest video I ever cut, but I'm going to go grab it. I had a bunch of people just say, we love you doing this video. And my guy, Alonzo1219, if you guys are familiar with Zoe, he told me like practically every other day for weeks, you've got to do an Ohio State video. If you would do an Ohio State video once a week that would show your true passion and put the gear on, talk Ohio State football and go nuts, then people would love it. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to compromise what I'm trying to do here, and that's analyze college football. And maybe it's not as passionate as I would like it to be because I'm trying to stay neutral and analytical. But he finally persuaded me to do it. And I did. And I did. And let's see if I can find this thing. I probably can't find it. I did it about 6 weeks ago. I was going to put it in the live chat. I just did a search for it. But I forget what I called it. Oh, there it is. There it is. This is not turning out to be the best live stream I've ever done. That's for sure. So you guys bear with me. Somebody call in 860-325-3687. Right. If you guys have any interest in checking out this Ohio State video, I think you will see another side of me. There it is. Ohio has no in-state rival. No, they don't. Ohio State should play. So there was legislation passed, Swampy McGee, or whoever said that, college basketball talk, back in 1998, that Ohio State would have to play somebody in state out of conference every year. And that possibly ran out because I'm trying to think who they played this year out of conference. They played Tulane, Oregon State, TCU. So once the Big Ten went to 9 conference games, then Ohio State stopped mandating one game against an in-state foe. But from 1998 up until about 5 years ago, they were playing one non-conference game against an Ohio team. And because of the way Ohio college football is structured, all those teams are in the MAC. Akron, Kent, Bowling Green, Toledo, Miami of Ohio. So that's who they played, except for some games against Cincinnati. They did play Cincinnati a few times. Ironically, the year that was legislated by the Ohio legislation, 1998, that was the first year of the BCS. Ohio State was a consensus #1 team the entire season until they lost to Michigan State. They finished 11-1. Well, actually, they finished, it was an 11-game season, 10-1. And there was a log jam at 10-1 to play undefeated Tennessee in the BCS championship game. You guys remember this? Ohio State, Wisconsin, UCLA, Arizona, and Florida State were all 10-1. I might be missing somebody. Kansas State, UCLA, Kansas State, Arizona, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Florida State were all 10-1. So who should have played in the national championship game? Well, Florida State got to do it, and they lost to Tennessee. Based on the BCS formula, Ohio State's 59-0 win over Toledo, since Toledo was like 2-10 that year, 2-9, 1-10, something like that, cost them enough points to drop them from #2 in the BCS rankings to #3. So the Ohio legislation cost Ohio State earning a trip to the first BCS championship game. Great job, Mark, getting my old butt to bed. Have fun, gang. Yeah, I hear you there. I got to get my predictions done. I've got to... I may have wasted all these notes on Washington State, Iowa State. I may cut a video. I want to cut a video talking about motivation for bowl games, because I keep hearing all sorts of crazy talk out there that I want to give my perspective on. So I'll do that at some point. What is my year 0 analysis for Jeremy Pruitt? And that's a good way to put it right there. He had a clean slate, and he also had a year to just establish his system, his process, his culture. And considering how bad the Vols looked at the end of 2017, they beat Auburn. Who else did they beat that was worth anything? What did Tennessee go? They went 5-7. They lost to West Virginia out of conference, so that means they went 3-5 in the SEC. No, they went 2-6 in the SEC. So they beat Auburn, and they beat... who'd they beat? South Carolina? Wait a minute. Can't remember who else they beat. They obviously lost to Georgia. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Kentucky. No. They beat Kentucky. That was their big win. So they beat Auburn and Kentucky. But they shouldn't have lost to Vandy necessarily, although Vandy showed us something last night against Baylor. So I'm good with Jeremy Pruitt's first season at Tennessee. I don't think that they really had a game in which... the Missouri game was disappointing that they didn't compete against Mizzou. They got blown out by 25 to 30 points against Mizzou. That was disappointing. The Florida game at home was just marred with dumb penalties and mistakes and turnovers. So they played 2 really lousy games, Florida and Missouri. Other than that, they played about as well as expected. So I'm not going to give Jeremy Pruitt outstanding marks. It's not like he took a team that we expected to go 5-7 and he went 8-4. And of course, they didn't come off the rails. They did about what we expected them to do. I think I picked Tennessee to go 5-7 and to go 2-6 in the SEC. So the recruiting haul was pretty good. Top 20 in the nation. And so we'll see from here on out how Jeremy Pruitt does. But I think most Tennessee fans are pretty happy with what they saw, not just on the field, but what they heard out of Jeremy Pruitt's mouth and the way he conducted himself and the way he's going to run a program very much diametrically opposed to the Butch Jones approach of the used car salesman. Jeremy Pruitt's a football guy through and through who is going to tell it like it is and is going to shoot straight. And if there's an internal issue, he's not going to air it out in public. So everything he tells us that he discloses is going to be straight ahead, shoot straight, and this is the way it is. And otherwise, I'm going to tell you that I can't tell you something. But the way he's running the football program right now, the football team, the team performed as expected. Not above expectations, not below expectations. College Basketball Talk says the SEC won, the Big Ten 2, the Big 12 3, then the ACC and the Pac-12. So College Basketball Talk, what I do every offseason, and I probably told you this before, is that I compare all the conferences based on the scores and the results and the performance against each other, both throughout the regular season and the bowl games. So I think that's the fairest and most accurate measure of the Power 5 conferences, is to take all the results against each other, seed the teams, and I've got a complete system on how to do this. So the games aren't just weighted all evenly, because, for example, the ACC shouldn't take a hit for Alabama beating Louisville. It wasn't like Alabama won the SEC and Louisville won the ACC and Alabama killed them head to head. No, Alabama is the best team in the SEC and Louisville is the worst team in the ACC. Therefore, that should be put into context, and the SEC should be still given credit because they actually had a team go out and play a team from the ACC and win the game, but there should be very little credit given or discredit given to the ACC for that game because it's a 1 versus 14 matchup. But that's what I do, is I weight all the games based on the seedings of the two teams, and I rate all the Power 5 conferences based on those results. So we'll get on that in a few weeks. Again, there is much going on with the channel, and so I hesitate guaranteeing what I'm going to be able to do. So hang tight. Please subscribe to the newsletter. I'll keep you informed on what's going on. But I am generally not going anywhere. I am pushing forward to do what I love to do, and hopefully what I do well and would like to do better, whether it's here or in another venue. But talking college football, analyzing college football, writing about college football, this is what I love to do. And so this is what I will find a way to be able to continue to do. You guys just love spitting out bowl scores, I guess. All right, folks, 1:45 a.m. I want to talk bowl motivation in a video. I want to talk Iowa State and Washington State, since I watched the entire game and took notes on the game. Although I've got to admit, so I was with my daughter this evening, so I taped Syracuse, West Virginia, and then the Washington State, Iowa State game. So then by the time I started to watch West Virginia and Syracuse, it was probably 7 o'clock, and the game started at 5. And then by the time I watched the entire game and then took notes on it, cut a video and released it, edited, posted, I didn't start watching the late night game, which started at 9 Eastern. I didn't start watching it until probably 11 o'clock. So I tried to cram it all in. And so when I DVR'd the game, I forgot to DVR past the game. And of course, the game went longer. So I hit like the 3-minute mark when Iowa State scored to make it 28-26. and I taped to 12:30, and it was only 12:41. So I thought, okay, I'm going to miss a couple minutes of game time, but I should be able to pick this game up with a couple minutes left live. But I clicked it on live, and SportsCenter was already on. So I thought, what happened to 3.5 to 4 minutes of game time in just 11 minutes? It takes a lot longer to play 3 to 4 minutes of game time than 11 minutes. So I don't know what happened, but I did not get to see the last 4 minutes of the game. Then I went online to try to catch highlights. But I still have analysis on that game. Got to do predictions. I've also got 2 videos going to be released in the morning. One is on the betting lines for all the college football playoff games and the bowl games for Saturday. And then I've got a Notre Dame recruiting update with Slap the Sign that's going to be released around 11 a.m. And then, of course, we're going to talk college football at 11:30 a.m. I need to bring on someone like Peter Burns or Greg McElroy for a stream someday. Hound Dog, I don't know if you've been watching me for very long, but we've had Peter Burns on probably 20 times. He's a great guy. There are certain reasons why I'm not having him on or asking him on now. And again, those things are going to be cleared up soon, one way or the other. And even if the channel needs to take a different direction, that's all going to be explained. And I am going to be around to try to further my career and college football content and college football talk. I'll just have to keep in communication with you all as we go forward. All right, everyone. I appreciate you joining the live stream. I apologize that it was just a big rambling mess about nothing. I appreciate the support. I didn't have any great analysis other than what I'm going to do in just a few minutes when I get off here. I'm going to cut a Washington State, Iowa State instant analysis piece. I've got to knock out my predictions for tomorrow. And again, I want to talk about bowl motivation because people are making stupid comments that are driving me nuts concerning trying to predict and speculate and conjecture on particular teams' motivation. And I think it's flawed thinking in many respects. All right, Connor, college basketball talk, positive vibes, who loves the picks, even when I get them wrong. Thank you very much. I don't promise much. I'm not an odds maker. I'm not a professional handicapper. I just love to predict college football games, and I do my best, but I put next to no time in it. So it's just for fun, but I usually hit about 58% against the spread, and I hit about 82% straight up. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Again, subscribe to the newsletter by sending your email to MarkRogersTV@gmail.com. Just send your email to MarkRogersTV@gmail.com. We'll get you on the newsletter, The Voice of College Football. And I will see all of you at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time before Michigan, Florida, and South Carolina, Virginia. Then we'll take it on through the day in the college football playoff games with instant analysis and live streams right here at Mark Rogers TV, The Voice of College Football. Thank you guys so much.